In Chapter 4, we learn about classifying a host of perspective, and in so doing, we highlight how change and innovation can be framed and reframed in different ways. And in the next three chapters, we learn about how to rank up different framework, planning for planning model for planning and understanding change, making sense of. And today, in this chapter, we examine a model for planning change which has been inspired by foundation work of Kirk Lewin on the list for employee involvement in planning program of change in the year 1947, 1951, and 209. In addition, we also mentioned about Dunphy and Stay in 1919 and Scotter with a step model, and they also apply linear and step for planning and managing change. You can see this a example for linear and step of John Hayek in 2010.
Hi everyone, my friends has mentioned about Kurt Lewin, and I will introduce to you who is he and his change model. Firstly, he is a German-American psychologist who was born in Poland in 1890. He had a long-standing concern for democracy and minority groups, and was interested in the way that the group behavior influenced and shaped the individual behavior. He discovered that the group is the key vehicle for achieving the individual behavioral change. According to Lewin's field theory, human behavior in any social system is shaped by two sets of forces. The first one is driving forces, which operate for change, and the second one is the restraining forces that attempt to maintain the status. If two opposing forces are equal in strength, they are in the state of quasi-stationary equilibrium. Lewin argued that in order to change, there is a need for either increase the driving forces and decrease the restraining forces. In order for change to successfully manage, we have to follow the three-step change model of Kurt Lewin. The first one is the unfreezing stage, the second one is the changing, and the last one is the refreezing stage. Because people are naturally resist the change, so the main goal for the first stage is to create the awareness of how necessary a change is for the organization to maintain the competitive advantage. During this stage, effective communication played an important role in the change process. The second one is the changing stage, as known as the transition stage, in which people are unfrozen and the actual change is implemented. During this stage, careful planning, effective communication, and encouraging are important. And the last one is the refreezing stage, is to symbolize the act of reinforce, stabilizing, and solidifying the new state after change to maintain the new way of working, the new way of thinking as the new norm. During this stage, employees should be rewarded, recognized, and provided some support and policies. So now we have an example of international university. Due to the rapid speed of the scientific and technical development, there is a need for the high-quality employees. In the unfreezing state, international university has renewed their curriculum approach and method in teaching and studying according to the international standard uh, to train their students to have a higher skill and qualification. In the second stage, which is the changing state, the Ministry of Education and Training has listened 100% of foreign-owned schools, allowing this school to use the foreign textbook to teaching and studying. International University is the first public university taught in English with advanced curriculum selected from the advanced schools. After that, other public universities should allow to do it too. In the last stage, which is the uh, rephrasing stage, international university is also opening a Master of Public Administration. Uh, Beside that, some subject is taught in school such as the leadership, research methodology, and crisis and change management. Through each subject, students learn about the concepts, related theoretical models, and how to apply them in practice. The last thing I want to share with you is the criticism about the Kurt-Lewin change model. It is criticized for being too simple and mechanistic. As the result, it may not be applicable for the present organizational scenario. It fails to take in consideration about the radical or transformational change. It is only useful if incremental change is implemented in an organization. It ignores the importance of power and politics and conflicts. Also ignores the importance of feelings and experience of employees, which is very important in the change process. The model is very plain or goal driven. And the last one is this model support the top-down approach to change manage and ignores the importance of the bottom-up approach in the change manage process.
And now I will come up with the next part of my presentation is about the Dexter Dunphy and the background of the Dunphy situation. And the next slide is four types of change strategy. And if you know Dexter Dunphy, which is college, who who conduct studies develop a model for identifying key competencies that managers can use to determine the most appropriate change strategies in current curriculum. And there are two dimensions of this model. The first is scale of change, and the next is style of leadership. That's required to win about the change patterning as well as incremental adjustment. Refer to small scale change theory, and from refining and classifying existing procedure to actual modification of the organizational structure. And next, we talk about the modular transformation and coverage transformation, which refer to large-scale change from divisional restructuring to revolutionary change throughout the whole organization. And the appropriate style of leadership is seen to range along a continuum from participate to accelerated, namely collaborative, consultative, directed, and coercive. And by using these dimensions, Dunphy and his colleagues identify four types of change strategy, and the model suggests that there is an appropriate strategy given that you can identify the context and the purpose of change, and this strategy will see you through the process of the regarding internal fit with the external environment. And as you can see on the slide, sorry, on the model that Participative evaluation has become a developmental transition, and Fox evaluation has become a task-focused transition, and both refer to incremental change, which partially overlap with the modular transformation, to locally consultative and directed change. Mm. And the next is charismatic transformation, which continue to refer to the inspirational change achieved through consultation, and why sorry, dictatorial transformation has been redefined as turnaround to account for the major cohesive change programs, overlapping with the more modular directed type. And and you can see on the next up table, it talk about the transformation change. That all change will affect some aspect of a company, but not all are transformational. Minor modifications to existing tools or policies which will influence completely redefine a business. Big change on the aspect on the hand, and the only whether that transformation is positive or disastrous depends on the strategy used to make it. If you want to serious results, you will see to do some serious planning. You need to identify what the ultimate goal is and then design a plan to achieve it. Yes, why not? And repetition and ongoing change management are essential for implementing this large-scale type of organizational change. For uh, evaluations, for example, a change in company department, uh, I take sales manager to as a specific example. That's when the company's business has been down for 6 months and they need to change the director or the manager of sales, so that this is the one of type of box evaluations. And about the example of dictatorial sorry dictatorial transformations, training on new skill. Yes, additional training is a great way to support existing talent, while also helping the company evolve. It's important that employees understand that the goal is to support new strategies as opposed to fixing deficiencies. Employees will see that you are willing to invest in their personal growth. Strategic transformational change should be made gradually and monitored closely. Yes, and transformation don't happen overnight. You will need to make adjustments and work closely with your team and your leadership. And about charismatic transformation, I will pick up BTS, which is the famous and as well. Yes, famous brand. I mean Vietnamese brands on the shoe. Uh, First, Vietnamese footwear brand. Yes, if you know, BTS has become a rich spot for the domestic manufacturing industry, and when it had impressive comeback in the past 2 years, established in 1982, British used to dominate the domestic market with classic Sandam model, also a company for 7x. Uh, I mean in generation M or generation Y, and this over time as the Vietnamese economy is increasingly opening up to welcome the entry of international brands, BTS is facing with the risk of shrinking its market share. Yeah, and to renew its brand image, bringing new reality to BTS to attract back to young customer and continue to cherish Vietnamese fit. The BT Hunter sneak with the BT Hunter. As you know, this is a sneaker, and that BT were that BT launch is, and it's in the second half of 2015, creating a rich flavor among young people and constantly sold out as soon as this were on the market. Thanks to reactive promotions campaign with the influencer face enjoy as Sơn Thùng MTP or Subin Hoàng Sơn. Both of these marketing campaign has changed the market has changed BT so much, and this enable BT has a position in the market these days. Thank you for your listening.
So I will cover the Kotter's model. There's a little bit about Kotter. John Kotter, professor at Harvard Business School, is known worldwide as the authority on leadership and change. His best-selling book, Leading Change, which discusses mistakes organizations often make when implementing change and an 8-step process for successfully bringing about change, is considered as the Bible of change across the world. Implementing change isn't always easy. Barriers can come in various forms: lack of teamwork or leadership, rigid workplace cultures, arrogant attitudes, general human fear, etc. can disrupt any change implementation project. So Kotter developed the 8-step model that describes for effective change. These steps are divided into 3 stages. The first 3 steps are setup stage. Next 3 steps are the rollout stage, and the last 2 steps are follow through. So in the first step is create a sense of urgency. The process should start with establishing a sense of urgency among both managers and employees. Everyone should feel the need for change, or that change is critical for organizational growth. Without their support, it will make it difficult to keep the momentum of the change initiative and achieve lasting transformation. The second step is form a powerful coalition. This step is to bringing together a team with the right skills, qualifications, reputations, connections, and sufficient power to provide leadership to the change efforts and influence stakeholders. The third step is to develop a strategic vision and initiatives. The objective of this step is to create a sensible vision to direct the initiative and to develop effective strategies to help the team achieve it. The fourth step is to communicate the change vision. In this step, the focus is on communicating the vision and strategies that encourage the rest of the organization to accept and support the change initiative. Next step is to empower others to act on the vision. When implementing organizational change, obstacles may occur frequently. Barriers may come in the form of insufficient processes, resistance to change by employees themselves, disempowering managers, organizational policies and its structures, etc. In this step, The guiding coalition and the senior management should focus on removing such obstacles that block the organization's path to achieve the change vision. Next step is to accomplish short-term wins. Achieving complete transformation may take time. Going so long without any victories to celebrate may discourage employees. So, to keep the momentum going and to encourage employees, it's important to have short-term goals to accomplish and celebrate early in the change process. So it's just a quick win. No need to be a big victory. It is just an ambiguous and related to the change initiative. So at the seventh step is to build on the change. This step is all about sustaining the implementation of change by ensuring that the teams are working persistently towards achieving the change vision while measuring progress. It's important to make sure that the team doesn't declare victory too soon after a few quick wins. And the last step is institute change. In this step, this includes changing organizational norms and values, processes, reward systems, and other infrastructure elements to make sure that everything aligns with the new direction. So, this model is good for effecting change in organizations, but like other models, it's not perfect. Because first is the sequence of events. If something does not work in this one of these steps, the whole system may fail. And it is very top-down and difficult to change direction once started. Referred to the flexibility issue. And we can address this problem by incorporating tools such as Lewis-Fox field analysis throughout the 8-step change process. And we all know that change is constant, and organizations need to be flexible and ready to respond at any time. So does Kotter. In 2014, he introduced another book for updating the previous 8-step model called Accelerate. And he said that this is not a case that all ideas are no longer valid. It is a case of adding to previous conclusions that takes us to new ideas. These 8 accelerators look similar to the 8-step model and comprise first step. Kotter continues to recognize the importance of creating a sense of urgency with the concept of the big opportunity is introduced as a focus that the organization should align with and constantly reinforce. Second is to build and evolve a guiding coalition like the 8-step model. Next step is to form a change vision and develop change initiatives designed to capitalize on the big opportunity. The fourth step is to communicate the vision and the strategy to create buy-in and attract a growing volunteer army. The fifth step is to accelerate movement toward vision and the opportunity by ensuring that the network removes barriers. The sixth step is to generate and celebrate short-term wins. The next step is to sustain acceleration, never let up, keep learning from experience, do not declare victory too soon. And the last step is institute change in the culture. So, what are the differences between the 8 steps and 8 accelerators? First, at the 8 steps model, it is used in rigid, finite, and sequential ways in affecting or responding to episodic change. But in 8 accelerators, these are concurrent and always at work. In the 8-step model, it is usually driven by a small, powerful core group, but in 8 accelerators, it is pulling as many people as possible from throughout the organization to form a volunteer army. In the 8-step model, it is designed to function within a traditional hierarchy, as opposed to the 8-step accelerators, which is require the flexibility and agility of a network. So, according to John Kotter, established organizations are restricted by hierarchical structures that limit their agility. They are slow to take advantage of opportunities and respond slowly to threats to the business. So, he declared that modern organizations need to sustain 2 complementary systems, which include the existing operating system and the strategy system. The operating system focuses on control, performance, and effectiveness in designing structures and reporting systems. The strategy system looks outside daily operations for new opportunities and innovations, so that it is able to respond quickly to change and opportunities. He said that this is not a question of either or, it's both and. 2 systems operating in concert, a dual operating system. And 5 principles are the core of the dual operating system's success. John Kotter describes these 5 principles as: first, many people driving important change, and from everywhere, not just the usual few appointees, like volunteers. So change is not led by a change management team, but by a motivated network of volunteers. Second, it is a want-to and a get-to, not just a have-to mindset. It is designed to engage. So people must feel that they want to be change agents and have permission to do so. Next is head and heart, not just head. So you must appeal to people's emotions if you want them to contribute to genuine change. The fourth principle is much more leadership, not just more in management. The network is inspired by leaders, not managers. And managers are the core of a successful hierarchy, but the network needs visionary leadership targeted at seeking opportunity and taking quick action. And the last principle is 2 systems in 1 organization. It is an inseparable partnership between the hierarchy and the network, not just an enhanced hierarchy. And we can see that in Vietnam, BTS is one of the longest brands in Vietnam, established in 1982 with their famous high-quality sandals. But due to the rise of other foreign brands like Nike and Adidas, BTS has gradually lost their market share. However, in 2016, with a good leadership change, they improved their products with new sneakers that helped them increase the revenue and gain the market share again through the campaign with the Sơn Tùng music video and Subin Hoàng Sơn. Viettel was established in 1989. In first 10 years, they were just the engineers who built high electronics in the TV stations. But now, they take place in the top 40 telecommunication companies of the world in revenue, and also in the top 500 brands in the world. So, in conclusion, We'll know the models and some example steps from Lewis, Dunphy, and Stace and Cotter. And nothing is perfect. Depend on each situation so that we can use one or more models for the change. And this is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention.